Hey guys, welcome to another Play3r.net review. Today we're going to be jumping straight into the Kitsound Cayman conclusion. If you've watched my unboxing, then you'll obviously have seen what you get in the box and stuff, so I'm just going to skip all over that. If you're watching from the actual website, then basically this is a summary of all of the information that we found on the website. If you want to check more in-depth information into our testing, then feel free to basically go onto the website and look at our performance and testing. But jumping straight in, this is a £200 speaker, and the price is actually the first thing I wanted to talk about, because £200 is a lot of money. I mean, when you consider what you can buy for £200, you're looking at studio speakers. You can even buy some 5.1 systems that are utterly awesome. I think, you know, £200, it's a very big price tag. So we have to do a lot of kind of testing into the product to see how it stacks up against everything else. Now obviously this is the kind of product that you buy if you perhaps didn't have the space for some of the bigger setups, or you wanted something that was a bit more sleek. This does double up as a soundbar, so you can put this underneath your TV and control the product via the remote. So, you know, it's got that going for it. This isn't actually supposed to be the kind of thing that will decimate a party. It's not going to have a 15-inch sub that just rips your wall apart. This is just the product that you can stick in your lounge, or stick in the back of your car when you're taking it around to mates for a barbecue. It does produce 50 watts, or it's rated at 50 watts, and a frequency between 40 Hz and 15 kHz. So that's plenty for your highs and your lows. Studio speakers will often be a lot higher, so we usually use those as a comparison. Our tests start at 22 kHz, so we can kind of work out the range of the speaker. Now, during testing, the speaker did actually do quite well in synthetic testing. If you don't know much about synthetic testing, we basically stress the speaker in a very specific way. It's not like a track when you have lots of things going on. We just give it one thing to concentrate on. And we use these to work out the range, kind of if there's any distortion in the music, is there any particular frequencies where perhaps it doesn't sound right. It isn't a test of the actual quality of the audio, because at the end of the day we do stuff like sine testing or sine wave testing, which is a constant harmonic kind of sound at one frequency. I found that when I was testing this, they said that it's rated at 15 kHz, but I actually managed to get some audio coming out at 17 to 16. So it's a little bit higher than they say. But I don't know how much of this you'd actually see in real world performance. It's a very high range. But that out of the way, the real world testing. We test with around 20 tracks. Most people might think that this is complete overkill. But every song was chosen by me for particular reasons. For one, I like to test on a range of kind of genres, because I think that you can end up with a variety of tests that kind of test the speaker in different ways. Is it a bassy track? Is it a bass and vocal track? Is it a vocal track? Is it a classical track? Is it, you know, violin? We test with Lindsay Sterling, who is like, it's violins all the time, and it's so sharp and it's so clean that a good speaker will utterly destroy that track. So we do a lot of testing on a variety of genres, and what can I say? I mean, every song was just a joy to play with this. Hooked up with a sound card especially, it was good. Without a sound card, it was still quite decent. I prefer using my sound card because it eliminates a lot of the kind of junk and crap that you might get. But from the point of an everyday user, I didn't notice that much difference. Using my onboard 3.5mm jack, it sounded gorgeous. I would say that a couple of the times while using this speaker during tests, you'll notice that I adjust my EQ to kind of suit the track. This is a personal preference. If you're into a particular genre, your EQ will be set up for that genre. No genre is good for everything in terms of EQs. Like, there's no, this is the best EQ out there. Every track needs configuring with a particular speaker. The less we have to do this, the more I actually like the speaker. It's a selling point. But for the case of this, I think the only things I adjusted on was quite bassy tracks to either reduce the bass and increase the vocal and like the mid ranges. So, you know, not that bad. So it delivered a full-bodied audio quality that it's worth the money, I'd say. Like, they clearly haven't skimped on the design of the speakers. I mean, they're packing an incredible amount of power into a small amount of space. I was really surprised by the sub. During one of the synthetic tests, it was vibrating across my desk. So it's a powerful sub, and it can deliver quite well. The only thing I would say was, with a speaker like this, I don't like to test them at full blast all the time because I do have neighbours. But around 60-70% of the range, it was perfect. Any higher, and I would say that you probably are going to get a loss of kind of the fidelity that lower volumes will always deliver. That's never going to change through any brand, any product. It's very rare that I get a product where at 100% it sounds as clean as it does at 30-40%. Obviously, you know, there's other factors to consider, like the size of the room, the reverb, and how the acoustics echo. So a product might sound perfect in your living room, but completely terrible in a small bedroom. It's just like that. But you know, audio quality exceptional, no complaints there. In fact, my main problem with the Cayman was mainly the kind of cheap build quality in places, like this plastic remote, and the use of this cheap plastic and this gloss that I just really don't like in products. It's a shame that they've kind of gone for that, as opposed to maybe a nice metal finish around all the edges. I'd also say that some sort of kind of screw mounting would have been nice, but that's just because I like my speakers to be like quite sturdy. It's a big unit, and you know, it's got a lot of room to move around on. However, with the rubber kind of mat, it doesn't move all that much, and it eliminates a lot of the vibrations. So for what it is, you know, it's for the size and the power, it's incredible. So it was just little things like, yeah, the cheap remote and the LED light under there. I would have much preferred kind of this nice bar and maybe an illuminated logo somewhere. But like the acoustic design, the actual design of these speakers is incredible. And I mean, if you buy this, you're not going to be disappointed. However, there are other alternatives on the market, like I've already mentioned. If you have more space, I'd perhaps go for something like the Z906s, or even if you can find the Z5500s somewhere else. Those are incredible speakers, and I mean, they're like 10 times the power. So I would not buy this for home cinema setup. However, for the general everyday product that you want to stick in your lounge, you know, you want to be able to use it with your TV and then quickly change to using your mobile, you can do these things with the Kitsound Cayman. But as far as kind of a high-end audiophile product goes, where I want to like completely decimate my lounge, it's not for me. So I hope you enjoyed the review, and if you have any more questions, let me know. For the meantime, off the top of my head, this product is picking up a 4.5 for performance, I want to say about a 4 for design, or 3.5 for design and a 3.5 for value. But yeah, the performance is just exceptional. Like, it's very rare that I get to test an audio product where I'm like, yeah, that was perfectly clear for all the ranges. So they're on the right tracks. I'd love to see this kind of quality for maybe £50-60 less. If it was £50-60 less, taking into considerations like what you can also buy on the market, and the size of it, and the fact that they're not having to spend all the money on packaging and stuff, and all these little things that condense the product into a smaller thing. You know, it's not like the Corsair SPs, for instance, where they've got like a massive 8-inch sub box. Like, you know, they've just had to manufacture this one unit. So if they could perhaps bring down the value a bit, I'd increase this to maybe a 4.2, 4.4 overall. And if they fixed the cheap remote, the design would have been better, and the glossiness. Although I think the glossiness is quite a personal thing, I just don't like it because it gets dusty. And yeah, just generally working on kind of this cheapy kind of plastic feel. I know obviously a lot of speaker manufacturers do it, but for £200 I would have loved to see like a wooden back to the speaker, and it would have just literally rounded this up perfectly for me. But like I said, if you do buy this, you're going to be happy, and you never know, you might find a deal on one. There might be a sale on